Hi guys, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Sorry about that. I was totally distracted by some random Instagram video while I was
Share it with us. Share it with us. Yeah, come on, what are we watching?
Estreno. Con Gaby Cam y Javier Ibarreche.
Congratulations on the film. I had a blast. You guys are amazing. And this question is for both of you. How much do you think these characters, Alexi and John, are driven by their need to be heroic and acknowledged by other people?
1000%. In very different ways, too, though. Like, you know, I think that Alexi is very broad and desperate and open about his need for that. And I think John played so beautifully, closed off and subtly coming at you with things that establish his dominance or his prowess as a military man and wanting you to pick up on them. But, you know.
Desperate for you to pick up on them.
I think for Ava, it's she doesn't know what she needs until she needs it. And I think that was it. I think she's that stubbornness and that kind of it's not that she, she's kind of like yearning or what it is I think it's this beautiful journey of going, do you know what, I do need people. I can't do this on my own. I don't want to do this on my own. And actually doing good feels good. And doing good for others. It's a journey of self-discovery in this movie for Ava's part.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that Jake Schreier, the director, was constantly reminding me of, in a very helpful way, was Bob's deep desire to help and to be a part of something, and his belief in himself that he can, And then also there's this side of himself that is constantly kind of berating him with negative thoughts of like, you always ruin things when you try and help. So he's kind of fighting with himself in that way. But that was, very much the through line to kind of where he ends up.
It's almost like an imposter syndrome that we all feel, isn't it?
Yeah, completely. Yeah.
Oh my God, you guys are amazing. I love it. And obviously, these characters, Alexi and John, are not your typical superheroes. And that's very nice because people like me are not your typical people as well. I have always considered myself a misfit. So I wanted to ask you, do you think there's a strength in kind of being a misfit and not fitting in what people expect from you?
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, definitely. I think everybody in their own way is a misfit. I've always said this, maybe it's to quell my own insecurities, but I think everybody is insecure. It's just about what level of insecurity you are and how you handle yourself in the situation that you are insecure in. Am I nervous and a little insecure when I come on and do these interviews? Like, yeah. But then you kind of like do your best and work it out the best way that you can. And I do think that like this movie explores misfits in a way that's not like totally wacky, wonky, weirdo. Like there's elements of everybody that I think will hit home for different archetypes or people who see themselves as different archetypes. Like if they'll see an aspect of themselves in Yelena, or an aspect of themselves in Red Guardian, or an aspect in John, or especially some of the Instagram influencers of like, I think Red Guardian could maybe be a huge influencer.
Terrible influencer. What products would he be selling though? What would want like the Red Guardian seal of approval? Icy hot. You're back. It hurts. No, I think, and I think that like increasingly, as civilization unfolds and progresses, I've found in sort of our modern Western world that we're more isolated and we're more divided and we're more attached to these algorithms that are breeding anxiety in us and creating all this weird emotion which doesn't make us feel good. So I think increasingly we all feel, at least I do, increasingly we feel like weirdos or like misfits. And these are the type of people that I want to make art for or tell stories to, is to say you're not alone. Like we all feel this and we all know this is happening. What can we do? I mean, one of the simple thematics of this movie is maybe we can get together in real life and talk to each other and realize that we're human again and that we don't have to do it all ourselves alone in a room. And I think
it's so interesting. I just had this thought after you saying that one of the things about this movie that's interesting is because of the way it all works and where we start, like nobody really has any contact of like a cell phone, or we don't use much of that like in this movie because we're just trying to get out of the vault. We don't have any of our shit.
Yes.
And so we're forced to actually be with each other.
Yes.
You never really see like the computer guy doing the thing, or like, you know, it's not a very big part of the movie. Which
you literally have to rely on each other physically to get up a tunnel. Like there's metaphors in I think that are pretty profound that can't happen in isolation.
Yes.
Like you need human beings in reality, and I think that's quite simple but quite beautiful and bears remembrance in these times.
I found myself asking a lot of questions about, you know, even being human. And I think it is because these characters also share the need of someone believing in themselves, you know, like in them. So I wanted to ask you, as our real life superheroes, which you are, because obviously for us and for audiences, you are these people, you are these characters. Did you share this need at any point in your career, or even in this film for Thunderbolts, this need of someone actually believing in you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the whole experience for me was that, you know, I didn't really feel like I should have a seat at the table. You know, I was very surprised to have this opportunity even show up, you know, on my doorstep. And talking with Jake, you know, Jake really was a champion for me in that way. You know, I was like, God, I don't know if I can do it. This is a heavy task, you know. And you know, so it really helped to have him be able to be like, I know you can do this. I know you can do what we need for this story. And then getting on set, so nervous to be working with all these incredible actors, and I didn't need to be, because they're immediately so welcoming with such open arms and so kind of thanklessly giving with all of their information and tricks of the trade, and you know, look out for this booby trap, and you know, you might want to think about that. And
the suit will get sweaty.
You should probably see if you can get a zipper in there.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
You guys were the best for this job, I have no doubt, and I didn't ask you so.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. And as my last question, I love how, I mean, I don't love it because that would be mean, but I really enjoyed how all these characters, each one has a worse upbringing and background than the other one, you know, like it's just, they are who you are because of who they were before joining in. So if you guys had to choose who has the worst upbringing and background, who would you choose from the Thunderbolts?
Boy, wait, from the Thunderbolts? Yeah, okay, good. I was like, we're not.
I mean, Ghost is pretty bad. She was like born in a lab, like a lab prison.
Yeah,
that's pretty bad. Yelena's
Bucky also. Bucky's got a.
Bucky's just long.
Yeah, wasn't he like brainwashed?
He's brainwashed. He's got he has like 120 years of bad.
Yeah, I feel like Red Guardian's got it good. I'm living the life. That's all I know. I don't know why he's so upset.
Because we all have really just.
Your affliction is pretty severe.
I mean, Elena's. You see, Elena's. Mine's terrible.
I think one thing we discovered throughout the process was like, you know, there's a scene with me and Yelena where we're talking about our pasts, and we kind of realized like, it's not about the thing that happened to you. It's about the person and what it did to the person, and what faculties they had available to deal with that. You know, some of the things might seem worse, but if you didn't have the faculties and the support to kind of handle them, then obviously you're not going to be able. It's going to be a lot harder to kind of rise from the ashes there.
And you're right, like, I think each one of our paths has kind of brought us to where we are and how we all deal with certain situations. And that's where you see the individual characters really come through with that. Like, you see how Yelena deals with, you know, with the group and with us, but then you see her, where she's from. How I deal with things is Ghost is a bit avoidant, and because she's grown up from 6 years old onwards on her own, literally in an incubator. So she's very much, you know, kind of relies and counts on herself, being alone, because, you know, she won't get let down, and she's good on her own. She doesn't need anyone. But actually, it's, you know, it's a beautiful, I think, relatable story of that you don't have to suffer alone as well. And yeah, and you know, your past has brought very much into the foreground of this movie, which is amazing. Like, it's how you played Bob, and the kind of this, what brought you and what's led us all to be there in the first place. Is, I think, that's really where the story begins, and yeah, it's gonna be a good one for the audience.
Yeah.
Nadie puede, pero podemos encontrar una salida. Juntos.
Con Gaby Cam y Javier Ibarreche.